Hi, so I wanted to jump on here for my second video and talk to you again about my journey and what I've gone through in losing my 13-year-old son 21 years ago. My son Jason passed away suddenly and we were left devastated, and it's been 21 years and I'm dedicating this channel to talk about I'm dedicating it to Jason to talk about loss and how people deal with losing a loved one. And I do want to say that obviously it has been 21 years. So I think, I'm very conscious of the fact that if somebody just lost their loved one, it's still very raw. And it's still, you're in a place that nobody can really understand, and I'm not in that place. I mean, I was, and I do get it, but that rawness in the beginning, it's so hard to hear anything that I'm saying, because I have gone 21 years now, and life has evolved to a different life, but I just wanted to say that I understand a lot of the things I'm going to say. If somebody is just experiencing loss, a lot of it they're going to not be able to feel the same way. So I am going to read a poem, but it's not going to be one that I've written. I'm going to read it in a few minutes. And as I said in my, I did put out an announcement that my second video was going to talk about the holidays and how to get through the holidays when you don't have somebody with you that you miss very, very dearly. And I was also going to talk about signs and the fact that I do get signs from Jason and others, and that I was going to share how I recognize the signs. So when it comes to the holidays, first I want to say, and again, this is not really for the person who is going through it in that raw state where your skin feels like it's burning. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it really. But for somebody that maybe lost somebody a long time ago, or they lost somebody who, it wasn't tragic. I mean, the person might have been 93 years old and lived a good life and had got to see children and grandchildren and weddings and basically lived a full life. You still miss them. That doesn't negate the fact that they're not here with you. And so for a situation like that, where I think the person is no longer here, but you still want to acknowledge that that person is part of your circle of loved ones, it's nice to maybe get a gift or give a donation in honor of that person. Like for me, like Jason loves sports, and so like I would love when I have to give a charity gift, or if I want to give a gift in to people in need, I like to donate like a soccer ball or a basketball or something that, Jason was only 13, so something that I would have gotten for Jason, or basically get something even like that a 35-year-old would get, and just get it because I'm going to give it to somebody else, not Jason, but I'm still in my heart able to give a gift to Jason. It's not going to Jason, but it can go to somebody else who's 35 years old, and it's still like I'm buying Jason a gift, but I buy it for like a needy person or to donate. So, those kind of things during the holidays, buying a gift that you would normally buy for a loved one, but giving it to somebody who really needs it or somebody else who could use it, I think can make you feel like that person's still there, that person is still being recognized during the holiday, that person is somebody you can shop for. I mean, you're shopping with that person in mind, but again, you're giving it to somebody else that could use it. So that is one of the ways I think getting through the holiday helps. And then like one holiday or 1 year, see, because Jason passed away in December. Well, he passed away in November, the very end of November, the 27th. We were hit with a lot of things at once. First, we were hit with the fact that Jason passed away the day after Thanksgiving. And then we were hit with the fact that Jason's birthday would have been December 16th that year. He would have turned 14 on December 16th. So that came like 2 weeks later, and then we'll hit with the holidays. In my case, we celebrate Hanukkah. So we really got knocked down a lot. But anyway, so what I wanted to say was, a few years ago, and some of you watching this channel will definitely remember this, I had made the decision or requested that people who were thinking of Jason over the holidays, you know, I know a lot of people do think of him around Thanksgiving because it happened Thanksgiving. Everybody sort of remembers where they were and what they were doing. So because he passed away then, a lot of people come over to me at that time of year and they say to me, I'm thinking of Jason, I'm thinking of your family, and it's all very kind, and it's always supported me phenomenally. Phenomenally. People know that's my word. Anyway, so I wanted it, so a few years ago I sent out, I think it was on Facebook, that if you're thinking of Jason and my family, and this time of year I know a lot of you do, could you please send me $1 in dedication or a donation to say you're thinking about Jason, and I'm going to send it all to St. Jude's when I finish collecting the money. And it got me through the holidays. It just did. I mean, it was like I said, it was like 3 or 4 years ago, and so it was probably like 17 or 18 years since he had passed at that point, but it's still hard, and it's still a tough time to get through. And like I said, people do come over and they do say the nicest things to me. So I thought it was nice in a way to say, I appreciate your thinking of Jason. Let's do something to help others through that. And so I think we collected like over $800 or something. I sent it to St. Jude's. It gave me a fantastic feeling. I felt that we remembered Jason. A lot of people who seemed to want to say they remember him did something that I'm sure they felt good about. So that was something that got us through the holidays that particular year. And like I said, that's like some of the ideas I have as far as just not necessarily thinking you have to erase them from the holidays, or you have to tell yourself not to concentrate on them during the holidays. I think you should concentrate on them like you concentrate on everybody else, because they are part of your circle of love. It's who you love, who you want to give out a gift to, you know. So that's a couple of ideas, and maybe I'll share more as the holidays go on. The other thing I wanted to talk about was signs, and there's so many of them. And anybody who knows me knows how much I tell them I get signs. So trying to think of a couple of specific ones. The one thing I'm going to read to you is one of the signs that I kind of got. But Jason had a number, 83. He wrote it all over his notebooks. He wrote it in doodling. He loved to make an 83 and color it in different ways. And we really never knew why. I mean, he was into sports, so I always asked my husband whether or not it was a specific sports person, and my husband said it wasn't. I mean, again, I don't know why the 83. We never really asked Jason. I mean, he was 13, he doodled. Mainly he doodled the number 83. And so I get 83s a lot come up in my life. I mean, since he passed away. And for me, it always made it feel like he's there. He's telling you he's there. He's telling you he knows what's going on. And like, for example, and this may not be the best example, I'll try to think of more as videos go on, I decided to do this video channel. And like I said, why now? 21 years later, just came to me. I just decided I wanted to do it, and I plunged into it. So when I was done with my first video, and I had done several takes, so to speak, I had done quite a few. And then the final one I sent out. Like, I guess it was maybe after I watched it like 2 or 3 times just to check on it and see if I liked it. It was 8.36 minutes. So it was 83 was in there. And to me, again, you know, signs are very personal. You don't necessarily think everybody feels the same way about the same things that happen, but if it hits you and you feel it, it's a sign to you. And that was my sign that Jason knew I was doing this channel, because it was 8.36 minutes, random number, had the 83 in it. It could have been 8.47. It could have been 8.25. I mean, I wasn't really aware of how long I was talking. So for me, that's a typical sign that I get from Jason, that he is still with us or still knows what's going on. The other sign I shared on Facebook, again, if you're a Facebook friend of mine, you may have heard, I'm sure you heard this, but this year we were watching a movie the night that Jason passed away, you know, the date. It wasn't the day after Thanksgiving in this case. It was November 27th, which is the day he passed away. We were watching a movie on Netflix, I think. And it was like, sounded like it was a Matthew McConaughey movie. It sounded like it was going to be about a boat and a crime that was committed, and the wife and the husband. And so we watched the movie. It was very decent, good movie. And, you know, we were having a solemn night. We were definitely having a melancholy night, just because obviously we always do on the 27th. And as the movie's progressing, it's showing scenes of a little boy. He must be about maybe 12, maybe a little older. And he's hearing his parents fight. And the parents are the Matthew McConaughey's ex-wife and her new husband. And the little boy's in front of his computer with the video games, which my son Jason played a lot of video games on his computer. And he's trying to drown out the noise from this fight that's going on. And the story continues and erupts and goes on. And then at the very end, you realize that the little boy is trying to communicate with his father, Matthew McConaughey, because Matthew McConaughey is not really alive. He's died. He died in the war, and the whole movie, he's really not alive, which you don't know until the end. Hope you don't want to watch the movie because I'm ruining it for you. And so you realize the boy's trying to connect to somebody who's no longer alive. And this last words in the movie is the little boy saying, or no, I think it's Matthew McConaughey saying, I don't know which one it's saying, but one of them said, "Don't worry, there'll be you and me again." Or somewhere there'll be you and me again. And me and my husband just looked at each other. And we just thought, wow, Jason just told us that we'll be together again someday. It was a moment. It was a sign. We do get a lot of signs like that. And I'll tell you more about them. But one thing I want to tell you about recognizing signs is that I just don't believe there's any coincidences. So when you hear something that's out of the norm, something that like shouldn't be in that time, like let's say you go to, I don't know, a basketball game. I'm just trying to think of something right off the top of my head here. You go to a basketball game and all of a sudden you're thinking that you have a memory of your loved one in the snow. And maybe they're like the time they were waiting for a bus in the snow and the bus didn't come. I don't know, something like that. Again, I'm thinking off the top of my head. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, somebody taps you on the shoulder and says, "It's snowing outside. Oh my God, I gotta get a bus. Do buses run around here? Because it's snowing and I'm not gonna be able to get where I'm going." Something like that. You have to say to yourself, oh my God, that person that I was thinking about wants me to know they're here. So I hope you understand that. That was just an example. But a lot of times, things that happen that shouldn't really happen, that you wouldn't expect to happen, but you're thinking of something and it gets connected, that's a sign. And that's how you have to recognize signs. And I will talk more about that in later videos. I don't want this video to be too long. So I'm going to read the poem now. And like I said, this is not, I didn't write this poem. And I didn't think I knew the author. I thought it was anonymous. But I do know the author because it does say here on the paper. See, I have a whole box of things that I've saved since Jason passed. And that's where I'm going to be showing you a lot of things from. So this one was written by Ruth Ann Mahaffey. So if you're out there, Ruth Ann Mahaffey. Phenomenal poem. Again, that word. Anyway, so this came to me as a sign because I was just having a rough day. I remember. Now, I did see that there was a date on here because I did look. It was August 12th, 2002. So it was probably like, obviously it was like 4 or 5 years after Jason passed. I was having a rough day. I just remember. And I remember going on the computer and something popped up. And I'm not saying that these things don't pop up because maybe I was on a list from Compassionate Friends for parents who lost children, or somebody else put me on some kind of grieving thing. I don't know. But it popped up on a day when I needed it, and I noticed it. Like, there are times I go through my emails so fast I can't notice everything that I get. But I noticed it because it said, a letter from heaven. And it was like, whoa, that's what I need today. So I'm going to read it, and it is a little long, so bear with me. To my dearest family, some things I'd like to say, but first of all, to let you know that I arrived okay. I'm writing this from heaven. Here I dwell with God above. Here there's no more tears of sadness. Here is just eternal love. Please do not be unhappy just because I'm out of sight. Remember that I'm with you every morning, noon, and night. That day I had to leave you, my life on earth was through. God picked me up and hugged me and said, I welcome you. It's good to have you back again. You were missed while you were gone. As for your dearest family, they'll be here later on. I need you here badly. You're part of my plan. There's so much that we have to do to help our mortal man. God gave me a list of things that he wished for me to do, and foremost on that list is to watch and care for you. And when you lie in bed at night, the day's chores put to end. And when you lie in bed at night, the day's chores put to flight, God and I are closest to you in the middle of the night. When you think of my life on earth and all those living years, and all those loving years, because you are only human, they're bound to bring you tears. But do not be afraid to cry. It does relieve the pain. Remember, there would be no flowers unless there was some rain. I wish I could tell you all that God has planned. If I were to tell you, you wouldn't understand. But one thing is for certain, though my life on earth is over, I'm closer to you now than I ever was before. There are many rocky roads ahead of you and many hills to climb, but together we can do it by taking one day at a time. It was always my philosophy, and I'd like for you too, that as you give unto the world will give to you. If you can help somebody who's in sorrow and pain, then you can say to God at night, my day was not in vain. And now I am contented that my life was worthwhile, knowing as I passed along the way, I made somebody smile. So if you meet somebody who is sad and feeling low, just lend a hand to pick him up as on your way you go. When you're walking down the street and you've got me on your mind, I'm walking in your footsteps, only a step behind. And when it's time for you to go from that body to be free, remember you're not going, you're coming here to me. So I got that day when I was having such a rough day, and it just made me feel like, wow, he's reaching out and telling me he's okay. And he's just, still with me and still there. So I wanted to share that. And I thought it was interesting as I read the poem again this morning to see what it said, and I knew I was going to share it. It talks about giving, and it talks about helping people, and that's what I spoke about ahead of this, and I knew I was going to talk about the fact that you pass it along to people who need something. You give, and it makes you feel better, and it just gives out into the world. And maybe I was meant to talk about that and read this poem at the same time. I don't know. So I'm just going to sign off now. It's been a long video. I know. I hope you listened. I hope you stay tuned to the whole thing. I will be doing others, and I hope you subscribe to my channel and push a like button if you like this video. Once I see what people like and don't like, then I know more what I could discuss on here. And you can also leave a comment, because people have left me comments, and then I'll know, what you want to talk about. Have a great day, and thanks for listening. Bye.